दिल चाहता है कभी न बीते चमकीले दिन.
So, firstly, 20 years, yeah, guys.
Recording the level is right up front. वो तुम लोग को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. तुम लोग होता है.
I was new in the studio. You can forgive me.
So I'm telling Farhan, man, that flute at the end is sounding like a steam engine coming. So pew, that steam engine is coming.
I realized that one thing that you keep saying now, what is that? The level of the instrument is directly proportional to the bounce. Yeah, correct.
Remember Javed Saab when Kavita Krishnamurthy was dubbing Wo Ladki Hai Kahan? He's saying, she goes up to the mic and says, I mean, sorry, my Hindi is bad. Kavita ji, आपको पता है ये गाना आपके बारे में लिखा है. इधर से ये हसीन मूर्ति प्यार की. He's saying, you have to sing ये कृष्ण मूर्ति प्यार की. And तुम अपनी dancer खाओ. Do you remember that also?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course. No, there were many spoofs that came up in that thing. वो दर्जी है कहाँ?
हाँ. वो दर्जी है कहाँ?
And the step was this. Giorgio, मेरा अरमान है कि मेरे सूट तुम अब ही सियो.
Wow. वो दर्जी है कहाँ?
It was around this time of the year that we went to Khandala to compose the music. It was raining like mad. I remember that day, and it was like a deluge. Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember getting there and Benny complaining about cables. That was the first time I met Benny.
और 20 साल में कुछ बदला नहीं है फरहान. He still, we did a show day before yesterday. He complained even day before yesterday.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh man.
But remember the first song that we ever wrote, Farhan? Remember the order of
you know, I remember the first jam session
at Farhan.
We had was at Power
the back room, right,
in the back room,
right.
And the one that that I can kind of remember that stays with me is the Dil Chahta Hai track, but which was written as a love song.
Right.
Yeah.
But we didn't compose that there.
Yes.
We did. Not the full band.
Yes.
Just the dum.
We had the riff and a little more.
That we had. We did have Jaane Kyun. Jaane Kyun got composed in Lonavala.
Yeah.
But I remember that being there. That I remember very clearly.
I think the first initial notes of Kaisi Hai Ye Ruth also we got the Farhad के वो पीछे के रूम में.
Possibly.
Could be.
Probably.
We were jamming on that. Yeah.
Maybe the opening guitar part or something like that.
No.
Farhan, you still have that script or what? That 60 pages wala script Dil Chahta Hai ka you have?
Yeah. I've got the 60 pages wala script, and I found just the other day we were going through some stuff. I found some hand-drawn storyboards of like the first few weeks of shoot.
Oh,
wow.
Which was quite trippy. Yeah.
Beautiful.
It was quite a thing to find. It's quite crazy. Like my memories of recording the album. I mean, one I remember when I first came and met you all at 4D. I think you all were doing the music. In the other room, you were doing the music or just finalizing, mastering, mixing. I don't know what was going on.
Of Mission Kashmir.
Of Mission Kashmir.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. In the other room. And you all played me that song, Dhua.
Right.
I remember. That's the song. Yeah, that's the song you had played for me. I remember that very, very clearly. And then, of course, the wonderful 4D ka sofa. which did anything but spring to life.
वो सोफा में कहाँ बैठेगा तो स्प्रिंग लगेगा, you don't know, है ना? There are some portions which will be like a regular sofa, but when you move and that bloody spring comes up.
Yeah.
That's the sofa Farhan and I was sitting on when Shankar, you threw both Farhan and I out of the room, right? Because
that
we were laughing.
That was much later. That was much later.
Correct.
That was much later.
But
what made you come to SCL, Farhan?
You know, honestly speaking, I think firstly that song Breathless had blown my mind away. To start with, I think it was that. You know, like to start with, it was that. Obviously, at that time I was still writing. I didn't know what my plans were in terms of whether this film will be made or not made. And I think like any other young writer, director at that time, as you can imagine and you'll understand now in retrospect, like, you have that wish list. And I think my first, at that time, because Rahman had become such a name, like everybody wanted to work with him. So when I spoke to Pa and I told him, I said, I'd like to meet him. So he said, yeah, see, the thing is, I mean, of course, go and meet him. But I don't know if your temperament and his temperament will match.
Okay.
I mean, obviously he's incredibly talented. There's no taking away from it. But I mean, I go to sleep at 9 o'clock. He wakes up at 9 o'clock. So I mean, there was that aspect of it. So I mean, so I don't know. Somehow that I just felt like I don't know if I want to get into that. You know what I mean? Of like having to wait for someone. And not that I'm not saying that any of that would have happened. This was all playing out only in my mind and in my head. But I just didn't want to go into a place where I would be another one off, and then my thing was just like, I want to work with somebody who's hungry. I want, like, how I was feeling with the script and making the film. And then I remembered like just how amazing Breathless was there. One, the song, also the couple of other songs which I mentioned to you, that Jo Raah Mein Teri Meri, that song, like, so correct. So melodically, all that stuff had felt really, really good to me. And then I heard the Das song, the Suno Gaur Se Duniya Walo. So all of that kind of happened at the same time, and it just felt absolutely right here. And I mean, I think, Ehsaan-Loy and me had met sporadically in various recording studios here and
with
there.
Adi,
we had. But like, I think like with you, Shankar, because of Breathless predominantly, I felt like a certain ease of reaching out is what it was. And then that's kind of how it went. And I remember the narration we did.
It was not very long.
No, I still remember. I still remember after Breathless, Farhan, you, Zoya, Javidji, and me. We were sitting in Pa's like hall room. You were sitting on the floor, and Zoya was sitting on the sofa, and you were saying, we will make this video, and then we will, after this video becomes famous, we will make big movies and we'll earn lots of money. And you were saying, I still remember that.
Anything to get you all to say yes.
I remember the first time I met you was at Farhan's, and you had a horrible cold, and you were just going on sneezing, and I said, I handed you a box of tissues, and I said, bro, you need this. I remember that.
And then you realized it wasn't just that day.
Yeah, it wasn't that day.
But the thing is, with the narration, I remember Farhan very clearly saying that, man, the script is about these three guys, like they're just randomly hanging out doing nothing, and they just like, sitting, and then they suddenly start laughing. I said, man, I completely relate to that. I think all of us completely relate to that.
Yeah. No, but you know what? Sorry, please finish.
No, and then after that, you said that, you want that time. Actually, we were supposed to go to Kandala for like 2 weeks almost, I think, as long as it took, I think.
As long as it took.
Yeah, because I remember saying at home that I'm not going to be back for at least 10 days.
Yeah, but it's amazing like how things happen here, because I remember that jam, and when this riff came up of the Dil Chahta Hai track, which eventually became the Dil Chahta Hai track, there's things like that happen where you're absolutely with the right minds,
Yeah.
Because I think like every script has a culture, every character has that voice and a sound, and I guess every filmmaker has a certain, and just for all three of you to just understand it and then somehow process it and bring it out in a way which seemed to me at least completely effortless, was amazing here. Because it wasn't happening, the music at that time was very, very different.
Right. Oh my God.
So I mean, I don't know, somehow, because we never had that conversation that, let's not do that.
Right.
I don't remember that conversation.
Yeah, correct.
But I think the way you all processed it, and the kind of soundscape, the kind of structure to songs, all of it was just very new, and damn good. It felt so right every single time you all played anything, because I think just the understanding was phenomenal.
You remember this dum 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 dum? This phrase was for the Jani Q situation.
Yeah, correct. I remember it very, very clearly.
And Shankar running out of the bathroom.
Toothbrush.
Toothbrush mere haath mein. Hey, this Dil Chahta Hai, man, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And
You
then
had a
everything
towel in
changed.
one hand, you had your brush in one hand, you had a towel in one hand. Dil Chahta Hai. You came from upstairs, I
It was
remember.
that classic Archimedes moment.
Yeah.
Totally, man.
Correct.
Totally.
Oh my
Totally.
God.
And you know, I mean, the funny shit that those 3 days, I mean, besides the creativity, which was like just superb, that just the funny moments. One thing that nobody knows about is that there's that one day where we laughed a lot in the morning, then we ate lunch. And I think we didn't work much in the morning. All of us fell asleep that afternoon. And we were in the room, the jam room. So I was sleeping on one side of the bed and Farhan had crashed out on the other side of the bed. And I'm like fast asleep. You know, that afternoon, Khandala, monsoon, you can't ask for better sleep. Suddenly, I'm woken up with this flute sound of Jaane Kahan Gaye Wo Din from Mera Naam Joker.
Farhan is playing.
On the keyboard. I jumped out of bed.
Oh,
And
I'm
my
like,
God. that was-
Ehsaan, hear this. Allow me to surface at least. Oh, jeez.
that was such an experience, man. But really, truly memorable, man. And how all the songs came about. And actually, sometimes I wonder, we did Janek, I mean, we composed all the songs there. I wonder if there were any ideas that we put down that we haven't used, you know?
You know,
I think there's one blues or something, right?
Dude, that song has not left me
You have
since we put it down. No, I don't have that scratch anymore.
I thought you had
I
a
don't know
cassette.
where it's gone in the archives of I don't know what. But it's there in my head. I have
Okay.
never forgotten it. And I
प्यार
will not...
में कितना गम है.
Correct. Those are the lyrics. Don't hum it. Somebody will take it. No, I'm going to 100% put that in something.
Beautiful.
That song has just never left me.
I know it's
always been there.
Yeah. God, yeah.
In fact, we recorded it on cassette, Farhan.
Yes.
Yeah, it was on a cassette. You had done
You
like one Mukhra and one Antra.
Yeah.
And then Ehsaan played, you sang, and Pa had written like some lyrics down for it, which was meant to be for Tanhai.
Right.
Correct.
It was actually meant to be the song that was in place of Tanhai. And then, I don't know, somehow when this thing came up and this that idea came up, it just, the rage in it was great.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's, to me, is what sets that song apart from any other sad love song. Because it also has a certain anger in it, you know.
Right.
That why has this happened to me? You know,
actually, the melody came up first. Because we had programmed it as we programmed it that way. Then this guy got that bass line.
I had the bass line. I was trying a new
seriously.
I was trying a new synth which triggered this line, you know. So it's like
that was it. Just wow! It took that song somewhere else.
And you remember that while percussion, that when we were playing percussion, me and Taufik and Loy, we played percussion in the song.
Correct.
We played hand percussion. Yeah. And there is that scene where he's pushing the trolley.
Preeti Zinta is pushing the trolley.
That squeaky sound is important.
Oh my God! It's like the sync is uncanny.
Anyway, so from Khandala, then we cut to the studio where we start recording. First song was Koi Kahe. I remember everybody came to hear it, and you know, like, man, for the first time, there's like a trance dance song. It was like, Then we proceeded, and then finally we reached Kaisi Hai Ye Ruth. So basically, there was a lot of moments. There was work going on, but it was so casual and so funny. Farhan and I sitting on that famous sofa at the back, and Shankar is recording on Basuri for the end of the song. The Basuri is like, pew, that way.
Yes, he's recording textures actually. You're recording like textures.
While recording, the level is right up front.
I was new in the studio. You can forgive me.
So I'm telling Farhan, man, that flute at the end is sounding like a steam engine coming. So I said, pew, that steam engine is coming. And I said that, man, it reminds me of Yadav Ki Barat with Ajit's foot stuck in the railway tracks. His foot is stuck in the railway tracks and the train is coming.
That was the crack up.
Turned around and he was so pissed off. Can't you guys keep quiet? Why do you leave the studio?
He threw everyone out of the studio.
But it always happens during vocal takes. You all end up talking the most. You realize that? When
Really?
I'm conducting the when I'm conducting the vocals, तुम लोगों का full on discussion about other things constantly होता रहता है. Yeah.
Oh God!
कितना
But I remember
बाप रे.
that's when I realized that one thing that you keep saying now. What is that? The level of the instrument is directly proportionate to the bounce.
Bounce.
Yeah, correct. That's what I understood. Because eventually those sounds are in the song.
It is
They
there.
kind of
It's there,
ambient somewhere at the back,
Yeah.
creating a mood. But yeah, when you're recording it, it's like right there in your face. You're going, how is this going to do anything?
Suddenly, Ajit
geez.
stuck on the railway track.
No, I was just thinking there's so much fun, yeah. Like Tawfiq coming to play. Then you Srinivas who came, who came and sang.
Yes.
Yeah,
Nahi,
Srinivas
came and sang. And then who came and played the flute? So you said he's only one.
Naveen.
Naveen.
That's what I remember you saying. He's like, he's not a person. He's only a big heart.
Right.
Correct.
Do you remember Javed Sahab? Remember Javed Sahab when Kavita Krishnamurthy was dubbing वो लड़की है कहाँ? He's saying, she goes up to the mic and says, I mean, sorry, my Hindi is bad. Kavita ji, आपको पता है ये गाना आपके बारे में लिखा है. इस तरह से ये हसीन मूर्ति प्यार की. He's saying, you have to sing ये कृष्ण मूर्ति प्यार की. And तुम अपनी dancer खाओ. Do you remember that also?
Oh yeah, of course. Of course. No, there were many spoofs. Many spoofs that came up in that thing. वो दर्जी है कहाँ?
हाँ. वो दर्जी है कहाँ?
And the step was this.
और वो है ना जाने क्यों?
Yeah.
Wall है कुछ some wall.
हाँ yeah था कुछ उधर. जाने क्यों ख्याल आया मुझे. I can't remember. नहीं जॉर्जियो मेरा अरमान है कि मेरे सूट तुम अब ही सियो.
वो दर्जी है कहाँ?
Have you been back to 40 to do more albums since?
After that we did, but now it's changed. The whole format of this changed.
Yeah.
Oh really?
अच्छा है अभी तक वो स्टूडियो है क्या?
No.
Now I don't know if it's this.
I don't think there's a studio anymore. Nature's Basket and there's Chroma.
Yeah.
It's all gone. Yeah.
And let's not forget Wonder Why, what to do. Wonder why.
Didgeridoo. Honestly, if I don't know if anybody knows here, there's so much nonsense that happens in the background of doing some really serious work, which is equally as important actually to keep you sane, I think.
मतलब वो serious गाना थनाई है ठंडाई.
Oh God! This is after
And those
Lotus sang that song, he'd be singing, "I am high."
And how much we used to trouble Pa with some word we used to not like just because the sound is not right,
No, two of them had khatkoded me very badly. One that khatkoded with me was Chamkile. When he first wrote Chamkile then. And I stand completely corrected and plead guilty. But when I heard Nahi Beetenge Chamkile, then I was like, Pa, this is a detergent commercial jingle. you cannot say Chamkile. Like this word will be the USP of the song. I'm like, we'll see, but I don't think so. And then whatever, we went with it, and I was absolutely right.
And I don't think you like. Bolo. Which one?
The other one that was troubling was Pyar Ke Ghat jo utar the. That used to trouble me because I used to find that like a very old-fashioned, metaphor for that Pyar Ke Ghat.
And I think we were not too kicked about Thokar also.
So yeah, mera naam Thokar.
Thokar, हाँ.
ठोकर में है ये ठोकर not how much poor thing yaar. He is like
really no, but it's so true, because he had said that the thing is that with words they come and go like as if in like their trends and fashion. So a lot of words actually he's like a younger generation gets introduced to, or similes or metaphors or muhavras, they get reintroduced to only through song. So it's actually a nice way of keeping these words and keeping these expressions alive by putting them into song. So that was a good learning actually.
Are which was that song in Lakshya?
Superb.
Dr. Doshi. Remember that?
Yeah. कितनी बातें याद आती हैं.
What a song that is, man.
It's an outstanding song.
What is wrong with you?
Art is wanting.
Yeah. I feel there's a couple of films like that. I mean, like, even if you think about, for whatever it's worth, even a film like Laksh, given the genre that it is not inherently a film that you associate with music. It's. I mean, of course, there's the army aspect of it, like a dramatic personal journey and a personal growth. So even within that, I mean, it's all Karthik calling Karthik. It's how effectively any writer can weave in that a song aspect to further the narrative. I think that's most important. You don't ever want to pause the story in films like that. Like in Dil Chahta Hai, for example, or in Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, you can to a certain extent pause the story. You know what I mean? There's a lot of fun going on. They've taken a break from what they're doing and they have a party and they're doing something. So the story can pause. But in films like in Laksh or in films like in Karthik calling Karthik, the story can't pause because the driving aspect of what the viewer has come to see is something else. So those are more difficult actually to do. They are easier on some level for the writer of the song. For Dad, they are easier because he knows that the song is starting at this point in the story and going to that point in the story. So he has a certain clarity of what it is that he can write about. For the music composers, it's difficult because there, I personally feel, and guys, you all will know better than me on this, but I feel that there the music then has to become an extension of the entire score of the film.
Yeah, absolutely. And Laksh, what a film! Yeah. I mean, were you disappointed, Farhan, with the way the film fared at the box office? Were you disappointed?
To start with, yeah. I think for reasons of having worked so hard on something for the very first time in my life, I'd worked that hard on anything.
That was your second directional.
Second film. Yeah. It was 3 years after Dil Chahta Hai. And you grow up with this constantly being told, and you read also in moral science textbooks and various other things or stories that you hear that, if you work really hard, you will succeed. You're always told that, so you believe that, And somehow, I mean, not that the film didn't do well, but I don't know, my expectation, I guess, of how well it could have done was probably more. So I was disappointed, undoubtedly, about it not doing as well as I imagined or as I hoped that it would do. But on the flip side, if I have just 2 minutes to tell you a story, is in 2017, I went to Dehradun to do a Farhan Live concert. And when I was there, I had not been back since Laksh had released because we had a screening once Laksh had been made. We had a screening there. I had not been back. So I got in touch with the IMA and I said that I'll be visiting there for a day. I would love to just come and visit the academy if that's all right. So, and we went and saw all those locations that we had shot at, the room that Hrithik used to stay in, the officers' mess, all that stuff. And then we were taken to this new Vikram Batra mess that they've made since after we had finished shooting. They made a much larger officers' mess there, and we went in there, and there must have been maybe about anywhere between 600 to 700, 800 cadets, all the GCs were there, and met all of them. They were asking us a couple of questions. I was answering. They asked me about why I decided to make Laksh, and I told them that Dad had been, I think you all had been together, if I'm not mistaken, to lay a wreath in Kargil.
Yes.
Operation Vijay.
Vijay Diwas.
Correct.
Yes.
So when you all were there, he had met an officer there, and that officer had told him that, there's such a shortage of officers entering the army because post this Kargil war or incursion that you want to call it, that when that had happened, the army had got such high praise for the way they dealt with the intruders. And हर जगह ये सिंह वाह हो रही है इंडियन आर्मी की, लेकिन जो एक career option था for the educated person to come into the army, that career seems to have vanished.
Correct.
So he said, I'll write a film about this to inspire people. So that's when he started writing Laksh. That's how it started. And then finally the film got made, and here I am 17 years later at this place. And they asked me this, so I told them the story. And then the person who is the kind of adjutant major who takes care, who basically supervises all the GCs, he took the mic and he said that, Farhanji, I want to show you something. So I said, yeah, of course. So he took the mic and he said, all of you who are here at the IMA, because of the film Laksh,
Wow.
put your hands up. Oh. And almost 65 to 70% of the cadets put their hands up.
Wow.
Powerful.
And hair is standing up. Thinking about
Yeah.
it.
Really, man. Yeah.
You know, and honestly, Shankar, you know, like I realized in that moment that, we are so stuck up on box office success here.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You know, that defines whether a film has done well or it's not. How do you quantify this?
I was exactly coming to that only. See, that time you must have been disappointed, but the status which this film has achieved now, I mean, it is there to stay forever. You've created a masterpiece which is going to play every single time you celebrate Independence Day or Republic Day or anything to do with the country. Laksh is one thing. Our songs are there.
Yeah,
the
of
film
course.
is there. So, how do you? I mean, do you rate that as a bigger success or box office?
Exactly. And if you think about what was the purpose of this film being made, now when you think about it, that he said, I will make a film that will inspire people to join the army. Who knew that? Those boys didn't know it. That this conversation had happened with dad and some officer when he had gone in 2000 to Learit. He had no clue. But the fact that it's actually gone, that message has somehow got seeded in everything and has reached them. I mean, through the script, of course, through the performances, of course, and through the music. Because the music, to me, the music becomes the torchbearer of the idea after the film is gone from the theatre.
Right.
It's true, because somebody on Tube mentioned, the theme. They were talking about, somehow linked to one of the things. And I was just reading the reviews. And one of the guys says, I think that's the reason I joined the forces. I think just because I was so motivated by the theme and the film, obviously. I mean, that's the power of music.
Shit, that Ehsaan, that theme that you have written,
like
man.
beautiful.
Interestingly, Republic Day, they have the parade in the morning. And in the evening, they have the beating of the retreat. Now I'm getting goosebumps about this. And so I got a newspaper like 2 days later. There was a section about the army band beats the retreat in the evening. And on their list of songs, they played with the taps, which is like which is the standard thing they play. After that, they played Laksh. The army orchestra played Laksh. That's when, oh God, I'm like getting goosebumps. Anyway, so I said, now that it doesn't matter that the song was not number one. Doesn't matter that the film wasn't a huge box office success. But that is what you call true success. When
true success.
It's gone into the very DNA of the country.
But also
functions very differently.
It functions in a different way.
Even for that matter, even a film like Rock On, how many bands have reunited after watching that film?
Bands have formed. People have started writing Hindi rock. And that is even today. There are covers which I get every day. And of course, now I'm getting some serious amount of covers of Toofan. Ananya, the title song. Some guitar players, the guys like down, 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 down. You know what I mean? It's so beautiful to see this inspiration that you're pushing like good stuff into the market and good stuff for these kids to grow up with. It's really fantastic.
I don't think one even consider that because it's a story and this is what it calls for. So whether you wear a wristwatch for a sports event or for a wedding, you still need to wear a wristwatch. It's like two different
But
occasions.
in typical Rakesh and Farhan, the combination, the film is spectacular, and this one really gets really deep into your very DNA in terms of, because you've seen people be like this, and you've seen this kind of life. And it's really, really fantastic. I mean, it's not based on any character. I mean, any historical character. But the way Farhan has adapted himself into this film, he's living that role. And spectacular acting by him, spectacular acting by Mrunal. spectacular acting by Paresh
Paresh
Rawal.
ji.
Paresh.
Yeah.
I mean, he is something else. So the film, when we saw it the first time, I mean, it was just that experience. And man, what a beautiful film! And we only saw the first half. We hadn't seen the second half yet.
It's very grounded. It's very
This is like it's earth. It's a very
very
earthy,
earthy, grounded film.
beautiful
So
film. Right? We're very happy with the way everything is worked out. The film,
Matlab, what Farhan has done in this film, matlab one Sashtang Namaskar only, yeah. Really, man. No, it is, see, one thing is he's done this for a film, but this is such an inspiration for millions of people who want to just achieve something and which may be just a dream, ki, अरे क्या मैं ये कर पाऊंगा कि नहीं, looking at him, I'm sure that you're going to set an example for, you've already done it in Bhag Milkha Bhag. Now this is like, even the physicality, the amount of hard work, the amount of did you firstly tell me how the hell did you start boxing? How do you, you pick up a pair of gloves? You used to box before or what?
I've never boxed before. The closest I've come to boxing is evading punches from Zoya. That's that's the closest I've come. But honestly, and see, the thing is, I'm sure you can apply this to your work as well. When you get inspired by a script, something happens by itself. You don't really feel like I'm working. Like you sit, whether you're at your guitar, Ehsaan-Loy, you'll be at your keyboard, Shankar, you sit there with that mic in your hand and ask somebody to play some groove.
But Farhan,
it just flows.
Our work, it does not involve bloody physical man.
But the thing is that it's not about the physicality.
That's mental drive, right?
No, honestly,
emotional drive.
It is not. If the fact is that if I'm walking down the street and somebody says, "Chalo 50 push-up karo," it will feel like hard work to me. Okay, what is the reason for me to be doing this 50 push-ups?
Correct.
There's no reason. But the minute there is something that it wakes something up inside of you, So
yeah. But the fact that it remains awakened for that period of, see, you must have worked on this film for 1 year, at least, one and a half years.
18 months actually in total.
18 months to sustain that, inspiration that you have, and every day get up. And I remember you used to go to that boxing ring every day morning 6:30. You used to be there.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. Many times you messaged me from there also for some song ideas.
Yeah,
yaar, ye aadmi kaisa every day subah uth ke, 6:30 baje, and that is not a score sport or anything. I mean, he's taken it up for this film. Unbelievable, man. That inspiration, it's going to set an example.
But in all honesty, and this is not being humble or trying to do any fake humility business. The fact really is, like with Bhag Milkha Bhag, or then like with Rock On. I mean, the whole reason of wanting to play music and do music and sing it came from just being so absolutely excited and challenged and inspired by what was being asked of you. So the fact is that if you're sitting in a studio and you're doing a song, you will keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it till it feels amazing.
Absolutely.
Correct. Yeah.
It is easy to say, chalo yaar, everybody's liked it, to ho gaya. Why do you go back home, lie down in bed and still keep thinking about it? And then come back and say, listen, yaar, remove that bass line and try another bass line. Sorry, this is sounding better. It's exactly the same thing. It goes out into your system. Yeah. And then till it's not done properly, you can't sleep. You can't rest.
But whatever you undertake, to ghus jata hai pura. Full on, man. I mean, unbelievable.
One question for Farhan, and it's a trade secret if he wants to reveal it. In Bhag Milkha Bhag, when you drank that ghee, what is that thing made of actually?
The ghee was actually, there were two big, the canisters were filled with Cerelac.
Oh my God! Okay.
Yeah, it was Cerelac.
और आपका कुछ बचपन का फैंटेसी था क्या? सेरेलैक पीना है मुझे?
नहीं, ये राकेश के बचपन का फैंटेसी हुआ कि, but they tried many things because you have to get the consistency and the color right. So I could sample many things which are horrendous before we arrived at the one that I was like, chalo, this I can still manage to down some of it. But yeah, that was it. But can I ask you all something?
Yeah,
I mean, we honestly have had an incredible association,
right?
Which, I mean, of course, is going to keep going forward. which, I mean, I know it's always tough to say, but like, which to you has been like the most fun time you've had doing the album?
To start with, Dil Chahta Hai, because there were no roles, there was no identity defined apart from the individual names. We were just like 4 or 5 people in that room, so it was like, oh, there's a canvas, like let's see what we got, what can happen out here, right? As part of 3 of us, and you are obviously, there's we are clay. We can be modeled any way you choose to be modeled or painted, or which way you want to look at it. And I think as we developed as SEL, there were a lot of pressures, but I think the beautiful side of SEL is that we just keep that image out the door.
I completely agree.
We come in and okay, what do you want me to do? I know, ground zero. We try and approach every project as ground zero. The only thing that we do have is the previous work. If at all that we somehow go closer to some of that work, then we know that's the reference. Otherwise, new canvas every time.
But remember, let's go. I mean, let's think about Rock On for that matter. Imagine how much fun we had.
Yep.
Everything was a blast.
I remember the mic was set up in the center of the room. I mean, we were recording everything like a live concert. So that was it was a different experience altogether.
Yeah.
And then you were so nervous singing that first song. Jesus. We had to throw everybody out of the studio
and put on the lights off.
You put the lights off. I don't want anybody to see me and all that. But by the end of the last song, you were like, "Chale yaar, bula audience ko bhi bula, no problem." You were so confident. So every project, I mean, remember when we did Senorita or songs like Der Lagi Lekin.
Yeah.
What fun, I mean, it was
okay. Then maybe let me rephrase it. Which song then has probably stressed you out the most?
Stressed, huh?
Like which song you felt, yaar, this situation with this song is it's not feeling like it's coming in. Like, has there been any such song that the three of you felt collectively?
One song that we took very long, Shankar, Pehli Baar. Remember, Pehli Baar, with the amount of times we took new ideas, Zoya saying, no, this is not working, and then finally said, let's go 80s. Wasn't that a tough situation also?
That was it. Another tough situation was Kuch sapne beete kal ke. That was a tough situation. Remember?
Yeah. And actually the song, which all of us absolutely adored till the next morning.
Rubbish.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. And everyone across the border, mind blowing. But the song that we went with was a song that y'all had done for something else.
See,
it was something you had composed.
I had composed the song even before this melody, even before meeting Ehsaan and Loy, for one television channel series called Tararam Pam Pam. So it was Tararam Pam Pam, Tararam Pam Pam, Tararam Pam Pam, Tararam Pam, Tararam Pam Pam, Tararam Pam Pam, Tararam Pam Pam, Tararam Pam. This is how it was supposed to go. Tararam Pam Pam, Tararam. This goes. And the way, then you remember that Kandon se milte hai, kadme kadmon se milti hai, kandhe. For the yoga.
It was adapted to a yoga day song. कदमों से मिलते हैं कंधे, कंधों से कदम मिलते हैं.
कंधों से कदम मिलते. Correct. So that was the one song we took a little time. And otherwise, I mean, see the difference between other production houses and yours, Farhan, is क्या होता है कि when we decide on a song, when we come, see, the whole idea is jamming. When we're jamming, we like some ideas, we throw some ideas. When we throw, we get a new idea. You don't need to go and consult somebody else whether ye idea pass ho raha hai ki nahi. Let me come back to you. That has never been a thing. If you decide on an idea, it's decided there.
That is true.
So that's why that you don't understand. That whole process becomes very chilled out. Because you know that we have all liked the song and it stays. It's a different thing after a week. We come back and say, nahi yaar, ye kuch jam nahi raha, idea nahi jam raha. That's a different thing. But it's not like an idea we have liked, but it's tentative. You want to present it to somebody else. Because you used to be the deciding factor. So that is the difference in working with you and working with many other people.
And I must point out the very fact that you take the call on approving the song. It speeds up the process like tenfold.
Definitely.
Okay, otherwise, and that is generally in the industry, that is the biggest problem.
See,
Because
and another thing, same with Rakesh.
waiting
Rakesh
for-
I
also
didn't
the
know
same
that,
thing.
but yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge problem because it like sets you back. It's like sometimes you're waiting for 3 weeks or 2
The
weeks.
same thing is with Rakesh
Right.
also. Rakesh takes the call. Rakesh, when he
takes the
comes,
call
he
and,
takes
you
the
know.
call
Yeah.
and he goes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, I have to give it to, I have to present it to my marketing team. I have to present it to XYZ. I have to present it to my producer. ये सब लफड़ा है ही नहीं. So and you know how much time we take to compose a new melody. It takes another 10 minutes. That's all.
Yeah.
But it really
No,
speeds
you're
up the
being
process.
unfair. Actually, in 10 minutes, you do about 3 or 4. Not one.
जाने क्यों लोग, man? It was like the whole song was done in like 10-15 minutes on the swing outside.
You know,
Yeah.
I must tell you one thing about Toofan. I mean, of course, I love all the tracks in it, but the title track, the one that I mean,
The
the
new
one
one.
that is now,
Yeah.
it's outstanding.
Outstanding, yeah.
And to me, I mean, I may or may not have shared it. I can't remember. To me, that was the big concern on this album.
I know you were having
The title track.
the energy
Because
of the...
honestly, I mean, see, maybe we shouldn't do it, but there's a part of us that's as much a listener as we are, like, say,
That's true.
collaborators or creators. You know, and there is, you can't take away what Bhag Milka Bhag did as an album.
That's true.
You can't take Zinda away. You can't
That's
take Bhag Milka Bhag, the rock track, which Siddharth sang so
Right.
amazingly well away.
Yeah.
You know, you can't take those things away. So the expectation कि अब now boxing पे film बन रही है, उसमें भी एक गाना होगा जो मुझे, that you can't take away.
Yeah.
true.
But luckily, good response we are getting for the title
Yeah,
track.
amazing. And it's a really good song.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good song. So that to me
We
was
went-
a big.
We went a little back and forth on the title song, isn't it?
Yeah.
We did on the
Little
track.
bit.
Yeah.
We changed the mukhrachis, the whole
we
thing,
did
the
go back
graph
and
of the song.
Yeah.
Superb.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.